prepare as thoroughly as you can. The guys play their asses off.
Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game. Another game.
Listen, we're talking about practice. Not a game, not a game, not a game. We're talking about practice.
That you probably won't say it again.
I bet I do.
Okay.
Chris?
If you want to crown them, then crown their ass. If they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Gather around, Skull brothers and sisters. This is Skull Rants, brought to you by Minnesota Sports Talk. I'm your host, Dave. You can follow me on Twitter, TikTok, and Facebook at Skull World. Make sure you hit subscribe, like, leave a comment. If you are subscribed and you leave a comment on this video, you're entered to win Justin Jefferson autograph jersey. Once I get to 3,000, we're in the 2,800, so we're getting close. Let's go. Let's go. Leave those comments. Tell me what you think about Jordan Addison in year 2 in his sophomore season. What can he do? Let's talk about it. Now, before we do, I want to give a shout out to Kyrie Jackson. I was really excited about him. Did videos on him. Was really excited that he'd be a Minnesota Viking, a guy that was young, made some mistakes as far as maturity and of sticking to football and seeing that goal. And then he had some angels step into his life and convince him to keep going, to where he ended up in Oregon and flourished, and by all accounts seemed to be a positive light in the clubhouse, a positive light for the Minnesota Vikings. There's a couple people online, I'm gonna give them no attention, that were just kind of awful about it, and they got their just reward for the way they acted. For the most part, there was an outspoken outcry of just condolences to the Jackson family. He was someone I was looking for. When he tweeted something out or he put something out on Twitter X, and I commented CB1. I thought he was going to be our CB1, man. And times like this make it seem like winning football games isn't that important anymore, right? Watch, and we've had our tragedies in the Vikings family before. We'll get through this one. That's a great locker room. We put great people in that locker room. We got great management, great coaches, great ownership. We'll get through this. Right now, I just feel like the expectation should be just come together, plug away, do it for Kyrie, do it for the Vikings, do it for the fans, do it for his family that's hurting. And Vikings over the years have done it right. So shout out to them. But on a lighter note, Jordan Addison, man, has the opportunity of a lifetime. TJ Hawkinson is currently out, and he can get those catches. He can get those touchdowns. TJ Hawkinson has more catches in this, his first, in the amount of time he's played with the Vikings, he has more catches than Randy Moss did and Justin Jefferson did. So it's pretty amazing that he has consumed that many touches, catches. I think Jordan Addison will get a lot of that because, Justin Jefferson is going to take a lot of attention, and Jordan Addison can play slot, can play outside, and Justin Jefferson can too. Obviously, they're both amazing at it. But Jordan Addison, he won't surpass Justin Jefferson by any means. But what a potential good year, and thank goodness we have him because of T.J. Hawkinson being out. And there was an article written by Kevin Seifert. I'm going to give him some credit here. We're going to react to it. It's my first time reading. I often do that. I want to see what I think of what Kevin Seifert thinks about Jordan Addison in year 2. So let's bring that up. There we go. Why Vikings wide receiver Jordan Addison may be even better in year 2. Kevin Seifert, ESPN staff writer. Speaking of Minnesota, if we made a list of the most discussed parts of the Minnesota Vikings' busy offseason, receiver Jordan Addison progress wouldn't crack the top 10. The Vikings swapped out their quarterback, overhauled their pass rush, extended Justin Jefferson's contract, signed longtime nemesis Aaron Jones, and even drafted a new kicker, among other moves. All the while, Addison produced one of the most notable springs of any Vikings player during OTAs, a mandatory minicamp, taking full advantage of the first NFL season to set himself up for a season that exceeds a historic rookie season he fashioned in 2023. I mean, it was looking historic. He was leading the league rookies in all touchdowns with under Kirk Cousins. He came back and when Nick Mullins took over at the end, he did well too. So he's looking for a guy that can sling that ball, and we'll see. We'll see if our guy can do it. Okay. Jordan Addison has had good offseason program, and really you can ask for. Coach Kevin O'Connell said is a guy that had a ton of success in year one, and really from a standpoint of getting a little stronger, getting a little bit more comfortable playing through contact, and still playing with the great burst and transition that he has. You saw some real growth there this spring. Addison was injured and missed nearly all of Vikings spring workouts last year after they made him the number 23 overall pick of 2023 draft. Forgot about that. Yeah, he didn't get to play much in preseason, and we relegated him to third wide receiver. Perhaps that's why there hasn't been enough said about the season he went on to deliver, much less capacity for growth ahead of the second year. He was one of 4 players in modern NFL history to record at least 70 receptions, 900 receiving yards, and 10 receiving touchdowns in rookie season. I honestly didn't even realize that. That's amazing. He could have easily had 1,000 with Kirk, and he was on track to way surpass 10 after week 8. I think he had 6 or 7. So it's what could have been, man. What could have been with this kid. He could have came close to what Justin Jefferson's rookie year was. It's it's the season that could have been, man, and it sucks. The others were Bill Gorman, Odell Beckham Jr., and Jamar Chase. Chase and Addison benefited from 17 game seasons compared to 16 or 14 in early eras, and filtering his production on per game basis widens the company they joined from that perspective. They are among 29 players, many of whom did not play full seasons, who have averaged at least 4 receptions, 50 receiving yards, and 0.5 touchdowns per game in the past 64 years, less than one every other season per Elias. No matter how you judge it, Addison produced a rookie season that was everything the Vikings could have hoped for, drafted with the idea of providing Jefferson an explosive wingman for years to come. Addison caught 4 touchdowns of at least 39 yards, and if there were any concern about his reliance on the attention Jefferson gets from defenders, actually elevated his production in the 7 games Jefferson missed due to a hamstring injury. Addison per game reception totals during the stretch were 43% higher than in games Jefferson played. His yards increased by 32%. Addison demonstrated a natural instinct for getting open, as well as developed skills for making difficult catches. In fact, he led the team with a catch percentage of 40.9% on tight window passes, defined by NFL Next Gen Stats, or throws where a defender was less than 1 yard from the target at the time of the ball arrival. Perhaps the most memorable was, and I wanted to talk about this one, was a 6-yard touchdown reception they ripped from the hands of San Francisco 49ers cornerback Charvarius Ward during the Week 7 game. Now, this came after an interception a ball got ripped out of his hands, and he made up for it by ripping it out of someone else's hands for 6-yard touchdown, because that could have been an interception. And that basically turned the game in our favor, and we held on. We held on because of it. This spring, Addison returned to Vikings practice facility with a specific goal in mind. He wanted to improve his technique and attention when he releasing from the line of scrimmage and at the snap. I'm going to talk about it, but I think they're going to quote him here, so I'll talk about it afterwards. Last year, I wasn't confident in my releases. He said I was being decisive. He said I wasn't being decisive. I didn't have a plan when I was coming up to the line, and I was just freelancing, trying to make something work. This is where our coaching's come into play. We have one of the best wide receiver coaches, Keenan McCardle, and this is what he said. Taking my game under the guidance of receiver coach Keenan McCardle, Addison said he has taken my game to the next level in 1 year. The NFL films limits physicality during spring practice, or the NFL limits physicality during spring practices, so Addison won't get a chance to fully test his new approach until training camp. Perhaps by then, after an offseason, talk about Jefferson contract and an outsized focus on the team's plan for the number 3 receiver. Addison's progress will be evident to all. I'm excited, man. The fact that he did all that with just raw talent and with not as much technique, to add the technique, because there's a lot of players that make their bread and butter of getting separation at the line of scrimmage. Jordan Addison runs great routes. He's quick. He's got hands. With improved strength, as Kevin O'Connell is saying, and McCardle giving him the ability, the technique to get off the line, it's gonna in the amount of one-on-one he'll see because of Justin Jefferson, and God forbid when TJ Hawkinson comes back, this dude is gonna have free reign across that middle, up the seam. I think deep ends, comebackers. I don't think he's that great at that, but fade routes, whatever. He's gonna have one-on-one coverage. I wish he was 6'3" or even 2, but he's not. He's 5'11", and I like the fact that I will take the route running in the hands over a tall receiver any day, and he's got that in spades. Justin Jefferson has that in spades. We are being downgraded to the 3rd best wide receiving core, I guess, in the division, or maybe second, I guess. Bears, they got good receivers, but do they have the top receiver? No, we do. Do they have the 2nd best receiver? Possibly, but we may have him in Jordan Addison. So I still think we have the best receiving core. If you throw in TJ Hawkinson and then you throw in a 3rd receiver that I think is very capable, we'll take it back. We'll still have the best receiving core in the league, and we got these guys for at least 4 more years. So let's go. Make sure you put in the comments so you win that Justin Jefferson autographed jersey. Tell me what you think about Jordan Addison, what your expectations in year 2, and give a shout out to Kyrie Jackson. Rest in peace, man. You're the Viking, the rest of history, man. Viking for the rest of history. Skull Vikings.